Hi, I'm Blake and welcome to my blog. So it's that time of year for spring cleanup. So we gotta weed weeds, we gotta trim the willow line, we need to prep the salsa garden, all kinds of fun stuff. So first I am starting by just doing a good weeding of the plant production area, and then I'm gonna go into trimming up some of the willow. This year, I did not quite get to the willow as early as I should have. You really want to trim the willow just before the last frost or in the fall. So, obviously, did not quite get there. Our spring came up really early and fast and with a vengeance this year. And as you can see, one of the issues I have is I'm getting ivy everywhere. So one of the next videos is going to be how I'm dealing with that ivy, how I'm eradicating it, and a few ways, not really a few ways, a way to utilize the ivy instead of throwing it in the compost pile and it just taking over. So my willow harvest this year is a lot better than it was last year. I will probably continue to use this for adding to the tree pillar in the backyard. I will use this for basketry eventually, but I just have so many other projects at the moment that I don't have a lot of time to work on willow baskets with prepping the rods and then setting them aside to either like re-rut them to bend. I need to like clear out the storage area where I would store the willow rods. So that project needs to come first before I store willow rods long term for basket making. And there is a bit of construction going on next door, so there's a little bit of a disturbance in the bog run that we put in, but a lot of the plants are coming back. They kind of got smushed to the ground, but their root system is alive, so they're coming back slowly but surely, but they definitely got turned over a little bit. The horsetail, I think we lost like one of the horsetail, but most of them are coming back up. They just got a little smushed. One of the common invasive plants that we get a lot of around here is different varieties of Asian honeysuckle. So this is an area where I saw a lot of the little seedlings of the honeysuckle coming up. And I noticed the seedlings are a little bit similar to some of our native seedlings in the look. So I had to be real careful. And as you can tell, our salsa garden is producing some like gorgeous soil, and so we have these gigantic dandelions. That's not lettuce growing up there. This is, well, you can use your dandelions as greens as well, but that was not my intention. Just the soil that is developing in the salsa garden after several years is just top tier. The compost is starting to come together, and I have been hiking and gathering rocks with my rock yoke and adding them along the areas of the garden that need them. So now next to the salsa garden, we also have this little triangle that will be perfect for doing some herbs possibly. Oh, we'll see what we get to. But we got to go and weed the whole Three Sisters garden and add all of those weeds to the compost pile in the back. And then somewhere around here, my camera either died or overheated. But I got the rest of the Three Sisters garden cleaned out, and then also the the yucca bed at the top. There was a bunch of thistle popping up, as you can see in the background there. And then the prickly pear on the end is also doing really well. I'm not perfect at being able to tell whether parts are new lobes growing or if they're blooms yet, but it looks like we might have a lot of blooms coming, which would be exciting. I would love to make some prickly pear jellies. Whenever my grandparents would go to the Southwest, where some of my family lived at the time, they would come back with a box of jellies that had all kinds of different flavors, but there was a prickly pear jelly that was so good. And oh yeah. And here we are just going through at the front of the property and clearing out all of the dead fleabane branches from last year. And fleabane, if you haven't planted it, I feel like is a really slept on plant because it really holds its form. It's really good at like not getting weeded out, even though it dies back to the ground completely, and it blooms really late. So you get a lot of these really nice white daisy-like blooms really late in the season. So we're continuing to move around the property. We went past our spiderwort bed, got that all cleaned out. It's pretty simple because spiderwort is another one that really helps like suppress weeds and things from moving in an area. So over here, we're just going through and weeding. You can see where I added some of the wisteria fencing on the left. And I had to be real careful. I ended up getting some poison ivy over here in this corner. In this corner, we have all kinds of goldenrod, Virginia creeper, daylilies, some double daylilies as well, spiderwort, and then there's also some vinca vine that I need to get out that I've been struggling with. So here is where we're adding more walkthrough paths to the walkthrough educational garden. I needed to go through and get out some weed trees, also some old goldenrod detritus that was left over, and there's a bunch of thistle that popped up over here as well. So eventually this path will get gravel, sand, pavers, and then a new bridge as well. But that is more things added to the list of projects. So this is finishing up about, I'd say, 75% of the property that really needs some attention. There are 2 or 3 other beds, but they're not near as bad as these. But the big project is we have a lot of ivy that's taking over. So I'm going to show you how to take that ivy and process it and use it to make baskets, because you just throw that ivy in the compost pile, it's just going to pop up and take over your compost pile. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you can follow along with our next bog adventure.